industry experts and people from the academia to sort of discuss in context to the case that we have put forth to our students as a challenge to participate in. This is a monthly initiative from BSmart, where we are seeing stupendous success, and we are able to have a lot of engagement. Uh, this is also the occasion where we sort of offer the three top students our awards for the monthly case study contest, which is a big pride moment for us at BSmart as part of the Business Standard Group. We, sorry, somebody was interrupting. Okay. So that is there. And we also take this occasion to announce our the next month's case study topic for the contest. So welcome everyone to this round of BSmart case study contest, where we have with us today two eminent persons. So one, our esteemed panelist, who is Dr. Shikha Jain. She is the director from the Institute of Management Development and Research, IMDR, Pune. We also have with us Mr. Pritesh Singh. He is an expert on alternate powertrains from the Nomura Research Institute. I would shortly give some more introduction about Dr. Jain and Dr. and Mr. Pritesh Singh. So please welcome aboard Dr. Jain and Mr. Pritesh Singh for this month's panel discussion. We also have our three award winners, whom we will going to announce shortly after this webinar discussion. To come back to Dr. Jain, Dr. Jain is a graduate, postgraduate, and ACT in economics, PGDM in marketing, and PhD in management. She has 2 decades of work in the field of management education, dispenses experience in teaching, higher education administration, business research, and extension activities. As a teacher, she has taught courses in economics, marketing, international business, and research methodology. So, Dr. Jain, welcome aboard. I think you are just the apt person to discuss about, the marketing strategy that we put forth about Ola Electric. More than Ola, we would like to talk more about the EV space in India. So it'll be very nice to hear you out, on the marketing angles of this sector. We also have with us Mr. Pritesh Singh from Nomura. He's, as I said earlier, specialist case in alternate powertrains. He works as at Nomura Research Institute Consulting. He leads the alternate powertrains and energy practice for Nomura, specializes on alternate powertrains, and spent over a decade on researching various topics related to the automotive industry for the Indian and global markets. He has been instrumental in setting up the policy advocacy, ER&D, and alternate powertrain themes for NRI India. Mr. Singh, nobody could be more expert than you to discuss the today's case study that we have put forth, for our students to participate in. So, not to waste more time, we will straight away go to Mr. Singh on this thing. Mr. Singh, we, in context to Ola, actually, we would like to understand from you that how do you read the EV space in India, the electric mobility space in India? Because there's a lot happening. There's been the FAME, which has come in, gone out. There are a lot of other incentives, a lot of conversations happening. The way EV was supposed to have grown, it is not done so much, but there are different angles to it, right? And globally also, we are seeing different things happening. So if you can give us a summary of how do you read the EV space in India?
Sure, Arindam. First of all, thank you very much for having me here. And I'll try to summarize my understanding about electrification in India. I think globally also, as well as in India, when we talk about electrification, we talk about, fully converting everything into electric, be it two-wheelers, three-wheelers, passenger cars or buses. This is one area wherein government of India have been quite clear about that they want to convert everything. However, there is no clear mandate or policy. It has been either statements by some of the ministers or advisory bodies such as Niti Aayog. Never ever Department of Heavy Industries, Ministry of Finance, Ministry of Power. Nobody said that we are going to convert, let's say 30%, 40%. It's all advisory bodies which are talking about and misinterpreted that the India is going to fully convert by 2030.
Right.
Now, whether India has been moving in right direction or not, when we, if you remember, like first policy came in 2010,
Yes.
MNRE incentives scheme, it was for the surface transportation. That time, everybody knew that, this is a new area. So it's a great opportunity for any Indian company who can, it's a fair competition and everybody is going to build together. So it was never a mature technology. It is not at all a mature technology as of now as well.
Mhm.
So whatever we have achieved in three areas, I will say. Number one, in policy. So, everybody wants to say like India policy making is not consistent, but in our analysis, Indian policy making related to electrification has been very constant. What they decided in 2012 with National Electric Mobility Policy, they continue with FAME 1, FAME 2, and then now EMPS scheme and the PM E-Seva scheme. The thought is very clear, and thought is like this. You need to have local manufacturing, and you need to have as much as local content as possible. So there are few policies like FAME incentives, which makes industry to adopt to at least assembly level of localization. Then you have PMP, phased manufacturing program, through high import duties. But that's not enough just to make or the assemble critical components in India. You really need to localize it. So for that, you have PLI for ACC because battery anyway constitutes 40 to 50% of the thing. I think there are a lot of detailed analysis. Then, when around 2015, no state was interested in this. And then later, few states introduced their policies, and then it became kind of a competition. Other than EV, it became a race to attract more and more investments. So that is why you will see a lot of policies coming, and then state governments revising those policies, learning from those policies because it improves entire investment scenario of that state. Overall, I think a lot of development has happened across two-wheeler, three-wheeler, four-wheeler, and buses. But there are challenges also, like in terms of raw materials, component manufacturing, financing, charging infrastructure, skill development. I think the one which we are talking today is uh, no policy or no guideline finds a place for developing the skills of the people. So if you look at the EV industry, people who are working currently are mostly the same who are working for IC engines. So recycling, reuse, those kind of things have been some of the challenges. Now coming to particularly for like how the industry has performed, especially let's talk about the two-wheelers, right?
Mhm.
So if you look at the data initially, traditional OEMs were not in the race, right? They did not come and introduce products in the beginning because investments were already made and they wanted to first leverage the investments. So that is why companies like Ola came and, they captured also large market share. If you look at the investments, the kind of investment which Ola has, you know, because it's not a matured market, so mature technology itself, so they will definitely face a lot of problems.
Right.
But the kind of investments in technology and factories they have built, I think over a period of time, longer period of time, they are well placed. Now there will be mismatch in terms of what they target and what they achieve, but I think path is fine. But yes, just to conclude, you will not see 100% electrification even in next 10 years.
Right. No, so good. So you're saying that, companies, brands like Ola and all, they have already put money in the ground, on the ground, they have made these investments, they're building infrastructure. No technology is perfect at the moment, and it will, it will build up on scale at some point and all. So,
Arindam, yeah, sorry to
yeah.
interrupt. I would like to make one point, which is really not only related to Ola, but I think for others also. When any automotive company in India starts for any technology component, So idea is that we have a market, we have access to the customer, and we will bring the technology from outside. Battery technology, making battery technology. So Ola was able to bring the vehicle itself, but they could not bring the battery.
Battery
So I think, yeah, so those challenges are there.
are still there. Yeah. No, so good. So, what we are understanding is that as the subject and the headline for today's webinar, which is part of the case study contest where we talked about, Ola Electric Foretell the future. So we basically, if we forget Ola for the moment, we seem to see that there is a future in electric in India, right? But how much of it is there, what is there is yet to be seen. And as we go along, we will see, just like the
Right.
automobile industry in India also, the conventional automobile industry in India, that the way it grew from ambassadors and Marutis to today, we have a lot of companies. And even today, Ford is coming back and talking about how it wants to do only exports from the Indian soil.
Yes. For
So
example, nobody expected Tata Motors to be what Tata Motors is
Tata
today.
Motors is today, yes.
I think, yes, that
Exactly.
trajectory we'll see for some of the
Exactly. Yeah.
players.
So, Pritesh, if I move away, and you touched upon it very well, is on the skill development part of it. Like, if we move into that aspect of the EV sector, how do you read the market for, let's say, as a career, as management students who are coming into the field, in the EV space?
I'll
Uh,
tell you. Yeah, I think
yes.
it's my favorite question. I'll take my example.
Yeah.
So when I started my career, I had zero understanding of automotive industry. But fortunately, uh, things started around electrification.
Mhm.
And then there is no understanding with anybody on that electric around electrification. So I was able to build, a very good career and around these topics, and everything was new. But what I missed, a lot of good guidance because people were not aware about it. Now, what happened is because nobody was very sure, right? For example, neither the government was sure, not the industry players were sure, not the educational institutions also.
Mhm.
It was a buzz. But institutions were also quite late in building programs around it. Let me take the example of, let's say, IITs or NITs. Now they are building the programs and
Mhm.
coming up with the electrification related programs, which means even with the basic understanding of the subject, students are going to be available after 4 or 5 years. That too, I'm saying very basic understanding.
Right.
So at least let's say 30% electrification is going to happen for two-wheelers, 15% for passenger cars, obviously buses and three-wheelers, it's more. So huge demand in terms of people across the areas. I think we are talking to the management students today. So I think around the business strategy, supplier management, supplier onboarding, benchmarking, all those kind of areas are quite open. So even with limited understanding and limited efforts, opportunities are immense. So if
Mhm.
somebody is really passionate about it and wants to build a career around it, I think there is a very, very good career opportunity. Why I'm saying this? Because next 25 years, at least I can see everything, around sustainability and electrification or any related technology is going to play a lot of role in sustainability. Result, what is going to be the result, I think, is not known whether India is going to be carbon neutral or the global countries are going to achieve their targets. But in terms of opportunity and opportunity to contribute something is a lot in addition to the career opportunity almost.
Right. Good. Good to hear, that our management students have a bright future in this sector. And there's a new sector which is coming up. Just like the IT sector was at one point a sunrise sector. So
Yes.
quickly moving on to Dr. Jain. Dr. Jain, in the same breath that Mr. Singh talked about, how there is a future and, how institutes are building up programs and everything. I would also like to touch upon one area, which is one of your specialties in marketing and brand building. And in context to Ola and all this, where you're talking about Foretell the future, the way Ola has built its brand and all. Do you see management education playing a role kind of in taking this forward, how communication, how marketing plays a key role in building brands along with the corporate strategy for the EV sector? I think you're on mute.
So, thank you, Mr. Arindam, for asking me again a very apt question. And after a absolutely wonderful description given by Pritesh, my task becomes so much easier because he has put things very much in perspective. Primarily from the suppliers or the sellers or the manufacturers or the industry point of view, where he's talked about the policy perspectives and also the technology perspective. So, Mr. Arindam, I would like to therefore really focus on the consumer side of the picture. So,
Right.
markets are consumer driven, and in India, you are looking at scaling up and you're looking at volumes when you really rate what's your success in the market. And therefore, marketing communications and the entire investment in branding programs becomes very, very critical, because India is a volume game. So unless you achieve that kind of volumes, you would not be really, looking at yourself as either successful or sustainable. So their branding becomes very important. Now, having said that, let us look at where are we now currently in the EV space, and whether it is Ola or other EVs. Where are we now? When I'm looking at from a business school perspective point of view, and Pritesh did talk about the existing level of skills which are definitely very, very deficient. So taking that as a cue and looking at where we are as a business school, and where generally, whether it is engineering colleges or business schools, where are they currently, you'll find a lot of EV talk still is in terms of, how do I put it, startup ideas. A lot of early stage startups are trying to make their space with the investors, and in a B school or in engineering colleges, there is a lot of interaction around EVs during, business plan competitions or pitches. Where they're trying to attract the attention of investors. So, as Pritesh said, it's extremely deficient as far as skill thing goes,
Right.
whichever aspect of EVs that you're talking about. Now, if you look at this and try to connect it with the mind space of the consumer, now these are young people who are going to upskill themselves and look at EVs for future opportunities. That's where their upskilling around EV is positioned. Now, turn the page and look at these young guys as buyers of the vehicle. Naturally, the indication is there's a whole lot of customer education and customer trust building that is necessary.
Right.
So I think there is a lot of, irrespective of that, this new fad around EVs getting the consumer to buy and then be able to trust it, and also the current availability of infrastructure surrounding it. I think there's a long distance that needs to be covered, and therefore marketing is going to play a very big role with two objectives primarily. One is the customer education, and second is the trust building. So whatever communication that goes around brand building is necessary, and it should be focused around these two elements primarily.
Right. Thank you. Thank you, Dr. Jain. So, what we understand from here, the point of view is that technology is still at its nascent stage. Things are getting built up. Uh, marketing, brand building is an ongoing exercise. We have to constantly connect with the customer, build a trust, build efficiencies in the system, and build a scale. If it's a volume game, then it also has to be about putting in the right investments, scaling up very quickly, and getting the needle to move faster. Uh, so if I understand, then that means that today what Ola is doing probably is all about both. It's trying to create it's trying to sort of make the its existing technologies more efficient. There are challenges in initial challenges. There would obviously be initial challenges in terms of brand marketing, in terms of reaching the consumer. There are also a lot of lessons to be learned. There will be a lot of mistakes happening, a lot of going back and forth happening, and still it will going to keep on happening, right? uh, the way engagement has to improve, right? So it's more of a still a startup environment. And though Ola has built some sort of a scale, it can still be considered in its startup phase, and in the EV sector at least. So, Pritesh, if I quickly come back to you on this thing, uh, the way I kind of sort of read it, do you think this is apt for brands like Ola? I mean, I'm not saying specific to Ola, but there are numerous other brands which are coming in. There is Ather also there. There are a lot of smaller brands. Now the established brands are also coming in, like a Hero, TVS, and all those. Those are also getting into this, the EV space and all quite aggressively. So for all of them, it's more of a learning phase, and it's like a trial and error kind of a situation in the market, how they sort of engage with the customer. What do you think?
Yeah, definitely. I think, if it is a startup like Ola versus a traditional company, let's say Hero
Yeah.
or Honda or Suzuki motorcycles or Tata Motors in passenger car industry, I think the path they are going to take is a little bit of different. Startups are going to be very aggressive. That
Hmm.
can come because they started early and they probably have limited understanding about also
Yeah.
how the entire, it's not a bad thing,
Correct. Hmm.
automotive industry operates, but the traditional players have a very unique way of operating, and they are not in a situation to take any kind of a risk. So
Hmm.
for example, that is why they need to be very clear in terms of communicating to the customer. So
Right.
when startups like Ola or Ather, they communicate to customer and there is an incident like battery fires, for example, they
Yeah.
never say that we are going to 100% protect such things.
Hmm.
They very clearly say that industry, this has been happening in other industries also, and this is not that only happening in India. So it will happen for some period of time, but it's statistically they prove that the obviously number of cases and others are very limited. At the same time, if it is a traditional company, I think even one or two cases are going to hamper their brand image in a negative way. Obviously, for both the parties, but traditional companies are much more cautious because of the nature of what they have at a global level.
Yeah.
So I think it's going to be a learning phase, but the communication to the customer in terms of expectation setting. For example, if Ola is selling a bike, a two-wheeler, so they need to be very clear in terms of explaining the customer because everybody is not buying the vehicles.
Hmm.
In passenger car, also Tata Motors vehicles, customers are limited. For example, in tier one cities, those who have their own place and home charging preferences because 80% charging happens at home. So those kind of players, those kind of people are buying the vehicle. The moment you add next layer of the customer, you definitely need to have a very different communication strategy. For example, if somebody wants to sell a second layer of customer who doesn't have the home charging facility, then I think the way to communicate is going to be different. Second is also, I think Dr. Shikha touched about infrastructure, etc. Their education is very important. For example, EV owners doesn't know even how to use the public charging stations, how to connect the chargers, etc. So clear communication and clear, strategy to connect to the customers, and right expectation is very important.
Right. So, Pritesh, I think you've given a very interesting insight. One is that conventional companies, even if they are not as quick or fast in the EV space as Ola, but they have a certain communication experience because they have already been doing communication and branding and marketing for their conventional vehicles. So they bring in that lesson to the communication part of it. On the other hand, more agile and more lean and more new company startups like an Ola or an Ather, they might have the technology, they might have the, with whatever little bit of challenges and all these things, they might have these things and they want to connect with, they would still need to build that experience of communication and branding and marketing, right? I mean, to address
Actually, yeah,
the right way,
yeah.
the customers in the right way, in terms of EV charging awareness, in terms of, the vehicle servicing, in terms of, how to use the vehicle, whatever, in, in all these things. That's a very interesting point, actually. Dr. Jain, if I quickly come back to you for one last bit of it, as Pritesh talked about, there are two aspects to this thing. For management students, uh, how do you see that, that brand building and marketing becoming a big career prospect in this field? Because clearly there is an opportunity over here for the students to move into it, because companies like an Ola, Ather, and all, they might need that kind of a communication, that kind of a marketing, and as you said earlier about building trust with the customer, engaging with the customer, which the EV sector needs a lot because technology is new, the way of using it, handling things is very new. Charging technology, you need awareness. Obviously, for conventional vehicles, everybody knows that you have to go to a petrol pump, get the fuel filled, and then go in. But charging is slightly different. So, how you do these things and all, these are, kind of things. So, your take on, management students moving into that space in the EV sector.
Mr. Arindam, I think this is a very exciting space for the management students to build careers around, branding and positioning of EV. But one thing I'd like to add to what Pritesh just mentioned, when he drew a parallel between, or he was comparing between existing players and the new brands in this space, where the existing players have been there, done that, so they have an experience regarding communication part. But I think where the conventional or the traditional older companies, older brands have an edge in terms of experiences, what do they do? So they know, of course, they know the branding positioning game very well. But where they have an edge is what do they do once the customer is has purchased, and the post buying experience or even the during buying experience, where these guys have an edge compared to purely the communications part. So they know they have a huge network and ecosystem, which and therefore when you're talking about these ecosystem, these are all these small businesses, small and large and medium scale businesses, which have been with these large brand with these older brands for many years. They have been successful businesses depending on these bigger brands, and their growth has been fueled by the branding and positioning of these older brands vis-a-vis the new brands. So the point that I'm trying to make here is that it's not just about marketing communications experience they have, it is about the whole ecosystem strength that these older brands have, which is where the newer brands still need to build their own strength. So you could get the best communication campaign most effective, but what do you do after that? Whether the during sale experience and post sale experience of the customer makes a lot of difference. So and And the way the social media and the media revolution that has happened, where everybody could, or just about anybody from the most ordinary background could become an influencer, these experiences count a lot.
Mhm.
So, therefore, what I would like to add to what Pritish said is, it's not just about communication experiences, it's about the whole delivery and performance experience that makes a lot of difference. And that's where the bigger brands or the older brands have an edge. Coming to why it's an exciting opportunity for business school students, purely because irrespective of how new you are, the entire communication game is highly tech savvy, with a lot of AI tools available, with extremely new ways of reaching out to the consumer's mind and heart. So, as far as that goes, I think everybody is young, everybody is new. So this whole branding exercise therefore offers a lot of opportunities for these young kids coming into the market and experimenting. Every time there is a some kind of an influencing action that happens on the media space, it excites I mean, people like us to take those as an example. Gone are the days when you would just pick up a couple of advertisements or a couple of brand building exercises and take them up as case studies. Now every day there is a new effort, every other day there is a new effort, and that becomes an example. So the point that I'm trying to tell you is, this is a whole creative exercise, lot of creativity involved, lot of new technology coming into the marketing, branding, communication space, and therefore everybody is new. And therefore it offers a lot of exciting opportunities for new people to come in, because you could be that next person in the influencer space who has done something differently and got people's attention. So I think all of us have a lot of space to work here, and business schools, management students have a lot of exciting opportunity,
Excellent. Thank
career
you.
building. Yeah.
Thank you, Dr. Jain. Very quickly, Pritesh, since you track this sector very closely, you know, we had a question over here. I don't know how much you can take an attempt in answering this. The question is, what are the various marketing strategies used to sell Ola EV bikes to the customers? I know for sure that there are a lot of influencer marketing happens, digital marketing happens. Uh,
Right, right. Yeah, I think that is the beginning point wherein you can say that there are partnerships, or you can simply call them strategic partnerships, for example, with Paytm and the Phone Pay and the online platforms. So I think Ola has done a lot of partnerships there, and other brands are also doing that. Before this, what they did in terms of marketing or branding strategy, you can see, and it's a clear differentiation between traditional and non-traditional OEMs is
right.
in non-traditional OEMs startups, basically it has been in the beginning, like startup, sorry, the promoter phase.
Mhm.
So everywhere you will find the promoter giving commitments and meeting the commitments and promises and future strategy, etc. That is also in terms of the marketing strategy, which is not the case with the traditional OEMs. That is the one strategy. Second, sometimes back if you track the news, there was heavy discounting and offers and promotions, and a lot of debate happened whether such kind of pricing is only for capturing the market share, or it is a sustainable thing. In my opinion, if you ask, that kind of a heavy discounting and very aggressive pricing strategy is not going to work. But that was also one of the ways through which they have been able to generate.
But that is a strategy that pretty much all kinds of companies do at some point of their life cycle, right? I mean, you can see heavy discounting and all this in the consumer brands also. I mean, typical consumer brands, they keep doing all these things. Yeah, I guess
Yeah,
that.
that happens. That happens.
Yeah,
But
yeah, yeah.
what I was saying that I mean that is there. But if you look at particularly EV case, the EV
Mhm.
case is very different. For example, let's say you are charging, you have a margin of let's say 5%, and you cut down 5%. You charge
Yeah,
zero margins. That is a heavy discounting. But
correct.
electric vehicles, are being sold in many of the cases at losses.
Mhm.
And you go very aggressive further, incurring the losses just to gain the market share.
Are
So
in market.
that's what I was trying to. And then the localized campaigns, I think,
Yeah, yeah.
they reached out different tier one, tier two, tier three. Even in some of the rural areas, they have created groups of people who buy Ola, and it's kind of a group of people who are really buying. So it's localized campaign. These
Mhm.
four strategies I can recall, um, which is working. And then I think company has been very clear in terms of promoting this sustainability and nation first, those kind of things as well.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Yeah. So you write the overall messaging also. Basically, talking the government policy being talked about and all those things. Yeah. So that's there.
Yes, yes. Yeah, because I'll tell you. Let's say government says that we are going to. Government never said it.
Yeah.
Let me be very clear. Advisory bodies said it. There are
Mm.
reports, and then they were misinterpreted that India is going to convert fully into electric. And some obviously uh, political space people say that, but government never said that. But
Yeah.
if it's a startup company and then they really want to align with such thoughts, and then they aggressively align their strategy with the policy that yes, policy is very good. Obviously, they talk about the improvement areas, etc. But in the beginning, I think such support was also there, which is good in a way because nobody knew about it, so everybody was in a learning phase, even the governments.
Yeah. Good. So are there any more questions? I think okay. Uh, then in that case, we will move on to the next bit. I must thank Pritesh and Dr. Jain. I mean, exciting conversation. Had a lot of new insights, a lot of insights which were reiterated, which we probably knew, but were not so aware of. But good to understand that the EV space, A, it is one of the growing sectors today. B, in terms of management education, there's a lot of prospect in different areas in the sector. And three, it's that institutions and in terms of learning curve, there's a lot to be done also. It's not just that we have done everything, but there's a lot to be done over there as well. So there are three things that I could take away from here. To move on to the next bit of it is that we will announce the three participants who have topped this month's case study contest. We have three. We have many winners over here, but the three top winners are we have Charulata S from SRMIST Ramapuram campus, Faculty of Management, Ramapuram, Chennai. Then for the second position, we have Vignesh Vasu Pujari from Pillai Institute of Management Studies and Research, Navi Mumbai. And then we have the third position, Vamsi Krishna, Pari School of Business, SRM University, AP. So I believe they are all three of them are here. So we would please invite Charulata, Vignesh, and Vamsi to please come on board and say a few words. We would first like to go with Charulata.
So, hello everyone, good evening. So, I'm very much happy in winning this case study competition. So, I should really thank Business Standard for organizing this event, and I should really thank my college for motivating us to participate in such competitions. So, as someone who's really passionate in sustainability, I have very much drawn into the electric vehicle industry because converting the strong gasoline vehicle in this competing it with the electric vehicle is really a daunting task and with a strong customer base. So this actually sparked my curiosity. So through this competition, I aim to learn about what is the actual customer's perspectives regarding the electric vehicles and what is the marketing strategies they are making to compete with the indigenous like conventional motor vehicles And at the same time, that's really the government incentives or influencing the customers base and helps with the growth of the sales. So this is all the learning I wanted to get. My approach to this case study is that I have collected all the current and the previous newses of the Ola Electric through the business standard newses. Then I compared it with the brand and the industry level competitors because I wanted to align whether their strategies are aligning their research and development innovations or aligning with them or not. And I also wanted to learn whether the customers are really preferring this brand. So by doing this comprehensive approach, it's really helped me to ultimately drawn to this solution. So thank you so much for giving me this opportunity. And the panel discussion was really great and insightful. I have learned a lot about the electric vehicle industry and also the opportunities that lies. So I'm also interested in working in the electric vehicle industry in the future if I get the chance. So thank you once again for giving me this opportunity. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Charulata. Charulata wins a cash prize of rupees 5,000 for this
Thank you,
month.
sir.
Now, next, we would like to invite Vignesh. He scored second position, which is a cash prize of rupees 3,000. We would like Vignesh to say a few words and your learnings from this attempt of the case study contest.
Good evening, sir. First of all, I thank to Business Standard and Mr. Pritesh sir and Dr. Chika ma'am for their valuable insights in electric vehicles and marketing. So I would thank my mentors, Dr. Ketan Vira, for a strategic approach in case study, and Dr. Atmaram Sakradhante for uh, strategic approach in marketing. So what I've learned in case studies that in India, particularly, we are in a growing stage for electric vehicles. We have a huge potential to grow this market. And as per Ola Electric founder Bhavish Agrawal, who is in a mission to make a independent uh, development and innovation in the electric vehicle sector. This gives a very bright prospect to grow the electric vehicle market in India. And that's it. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Vignesh. Thank you so much. Next, we call upon Vamsi Krishna from SRM University, AP. He has won a cash prize of rupees 2,000 for the third position. Vamsi, your experience of attempting this case study contest.
Yes, sir. Hi, sir. Firstly, good evening to everyone. And this moment is a bit special to me because it's my first time I won in this BSmart case study competition. Although I have participated a few times earlier, and today happens, it's also my birthday today. And coming to case study,
Many happy returns of the day, Vamsi.
thank you, sir. And coming to case study, while this case study has been organized, I guess a few days prior to it, they also came to the IPO. So I have gone through the DHRP and learned many things about the automobile industry and CEO Bhavish Agarwal's mission to take the Ola company forward. I would like to thank my professors, Mr. Dharmateja sir and Professor Ravi Prakash sir for constantly encouraging us to participate in these BSmart activities. I would also thank our Dean sir, Mr. Bharatwaj, for supporting us all these endeavors. And I have also learned learned many things in this meeting. And this moment is really wonderful to me. So thank you.
Thank you, Vamsi. Thank you. So thank you so much for the participation. We would like to conclude this webinar with the announcement of the next month's for October's new case study contest launch. It's a very pertinent subject which has been discussed in the media and everywhere for the last few days. This is about work-life balance. You know, how pressure, culture, environments, a lot of work pressure, timings, and all these things is taking a toll on our health. Recently, as you know, there has been a case with one of the major consulting, one of the big fours. Would not like to take name over here, whatever it is. So, so we thought that this is the apt moment to put up a case study contest to understand our young management grads' point of view in how. So we sort of thought of giving it a slightly different twist. We are calling it facing work-life balance eventualities. So, from a corporation point of view, from the company's point of view, in trying to enforce and have work-life balance by still keeping productivity efficiencies intact, you could face a lot of eventualities. It could be happy eventualities, it could be tragic eventualities, it could be indifferent eventualities. There could be many different cases, as we saw in case of one of these consulting firms. There could be others also. One of the other eventualities could be very high attrition. Uh, so there could be different end, or there could be different results to trying to have a right work-life balance. So we thought of putting this up, and the case study would approach this. The contestants will approach this case study from company's point of view, how to handle, let's say, communication and conversation around these eventualities that may occur in any company. So that is the next case study. And we would thank everyone for participating in this webinar till we see you all to the next one. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much, sir, inviting.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you all. Thank you, students. All the best.